So what are Medic's best and worst weapons in MvM? That's what I'm here to discuss today, so let's not waste any more time. Some quick base rules before we start. This is a 2 cities tier list. It's being made under the context of a solo queuing player, and each weapon is ranked based on its utility within its own respective slot. So Metiguns will be in the same rank as melee weapons. No, that does not mean they are equally as powerful as each other. And one final disclaimer. This is just my opinion based off of my experiences, and if you have a different opinion on something, feel free to leave it in a tasteful comment down below. With that out of the way, let's get started. Leading things off in D tier, we have the stock Bone Saw. Medic's stock melee weapon unfortunately does not break the trend of most of the stock melee weapons being absolutely worthless, as pointed out by 4 out of 6 of Wheezy's previous videos before this one. It provides no utility, and if it's damage that you're looking for, then your Syringe Gun will often do better when it comes to point-blank range. The Solemn Vow sits in the same tier as the Bone Saw due to its utility of being able to see enemies' health having no value here. Sure, you can't see small robots' health, but when you and your team are chewing through them faster than a hungry hippo, it doesn't matter. Plus, you can see giants' health when looking at them anyways with no special tools required. After a short D tier list, we arrive in C tier with the Vitasaw, which is here for one reason, and one reason alone. If you die, you retain some of your previous Uber charge based on how many times you hit enemies before, up to 60%. But with Uber charge rate upgrades, that will hardly ever matter. It might be a decent pick for medics who are learning and tend to die a lot, but that requires hitting enemies with your melee weapon, and there's a substantially better option for that we will get to later. The stock Syringe Gun, to any experienced medic, is obviously the worst choice for ranged offensive options. No utility, slow arcing projectiles, and the simple fact that you don't have your Metagun out make this a subpar choice. It's in C tier and not D tier though, because when you do land all of your syringes, it does do decent damage, which is a truth for all of the Syringe Guns. So even though it is the worst option for the slot, it's not completely garbage. You shouldn't be using your Syringe Gun anyways, because it's not your primary feature of the class. That would be your Metagun. The Amputator is a strange case. On one hand, it allows you to heal multiple teammates at the same time, and gain Uber from it, but this requires that your entire team must remain close to you in order to actually receive healing. In addition to this, most of the time with a good engineer, they'll have their dispenser in a good location for others to make use of when they need it. What makes this weapon mediocre in casual play is also what makes it mediocre in MvM, due to the fact that you can't upgrade the taunt healing range or healing speed. Overall, it's just bad, but it's not the worst option available, I guess. That particular title belongs to the Bone Saw. Moving on to B tier, we have the first and the worst of the Metiguns for man vs. machine, in my opinion. The Quick Fix is the Metagun that you use when you need a lot of healing quickly, which some would think would be a good idea in MvM when there's constant damage coming in. The only issue with that is that Medic has a defensive tool with every Metagun in the form of the shield upgrade that stops all projectiles and bullets, but not fire, so keep that in mind. The knockback prevention with the Uber charge is also negligible due to having the shield up most of the time whenever you need it, so long as you don't spam it. On top of that, Medic also has the ability to share his canteens with his current Metagun patient, assuming you buy the upgrade, which means you can give invulnerability or crits to anyone, with said upgrade also making canteens cheaper for Medic to purchase. The one positive thing I can say about the Quick Fix is that with the default increased healing rate, you can revive teammates faster than usual, but this Metagun isn't all that effective when upgrades are considered, making it the worst of the bunch. The Overdose gives you something that no other weapon on Medic does: movement speed, but only when you have Uber charge and only when you have the Overdose active. The utility can be nice for getting into a certain position, but it is once again a niche use because you should be staying with your team with your Metagun trained on someone at pretty much all times. As such, the Overdose shouldn't be out most of the time, but when you do need it, the increased movement speed can be nice. As hated as this Metagun is in casual PvP modes, in MvM it's not terrible. Once again, the shield upgrade for Metiguns rears its head and makes defensive-based Metiguns less useful due to being able to block 99% of incoming damage, with that 1% being flamethrowers from one side, and also the canteen sharing upgrade allowing you to make a teammate invulnerable, give them crits, or any of the other canteen effects. One mechanic of Medic I haven't talked about yet is in regards to using Ubercharge to revive teammates, however, and the Vaccinator is a peculiar one on that front. All of the other Metiguns drastically increase revive rate when you use Ubercharge, but due to the Vaccinator having 4 charges of Uber, Valve deemed it fit to just have the Vaccinator immediately revive whoever your revive target is the moment you press the Uber button. All in all, the Vaccinator can be useful in early waves whenever crit robots are present due to the Ubercharge nullifying crit damage and being able to instantly picking up a teammate, but it loses its value after everyone gets crit resistance and you have other upgrades as well. A tier. Getting to the cream of the crop now, we have the Blut Sauger. The best of the Syringe Guns, and Medic's second best primary ranged weapon in my opinion. Your Syringe Gun should only ever see use when you have no targets to heal, and there are targets in front of you to be shooting. But if you are ever in that situation, then something has gone very, very wrong. Even still, this weapon can allow you to face tank some damage by just healing through it if you upgrade the firing speed, so it does have that going for it whenever that rare situation arises. Outside of that though, it's Medic's best ranged DPS when it comes down to it. The stock Metagun. All reliable in casual, and second place in MvM, at least for me. The reason I don't believe stock is the best Metagun is because, once again, defensive-based equipment in MvM becomes less practical the further into a mission you go due to people buying resistances and, once again, the shield and canteen sharing upgrades that Medic can get on all of his Metaguns, allowing him to have plenty of defensive tools without relying on invulnerability Ubercharges. That doesn't mean this tool of Medic's kit should be kicked to the curb, however. As for newer Medics, it can help with the learning process and prevent mistakes from happening that will ultimately prevent you from failing waves and prevent missions from taking longer than they should. S tier. Medic's best equipment for MvM, and leading off the group we have the Crusaders Crossbow, Medic's best ranged weapon as long as you can land the shots. Being able to heal your team from far away and give yourself some Ubercharge for it so that you don't put yourself in danger is too big of a utility to ignore. Usually don't put too much in terms of upgrades into your primary, so this usually gets delegated to being Medic's long-range support tool rather than damage, but that's, shouldn't stop you from sniping the snipers that don't drop any money anyways, so, go for it. If you want damage, however, for the purpose of, say, tank busting, then use the Blut Sauger. The Ubersaw. You all saw this one coming from a mile away. What is arguably Medic's best melee weapon in casual maintains its superiority in MvM. 25% Uber on hit on anything but tanks is too strong to place this thing in anything other than S tier, especially considering you can usually get a swing or two in on sentry busters as they go by, or on spies when they're not disguised, or any other random bot that happens to get too close to you. If your team is considerate, they'll slow down a sentry buster for you so that you can farm a full Ubercharge off of it before letting it go or straight up killing it. This is Medic's most powerful melee weapon due to its utility, period, end of story. And here we are at last. Medic's best piece of equipment for MvM, the Kritzkrieg. More damage is always a good thing, and killing robots faster ensures that they can't carry the bomb or kill you. The previously mentioned defensive tools in the form of the shield and canteen specialist upgrades are usually all that's needed in order to ensure that your team is not only safe, but throwing everything they have and the kitchen sink at the robots to ensure victory. With the previously mentioned mechanic of popping Uber to pick your teammates up faster, if your heavy dies, you can pop a shield, start reviving, pop crits, and within a second, one of your most powerful DPS classes is back on his feet with a glowing red minigun. You can also use this to give your demo man a free crit sticky trap before waves for, you guessed it, more damage. The Kritzkrieg is by far Medic's most powerful and useful tool in his arsenal. And that's it for the tier list. A huge thank you to Wheezy TF2 for opening the opportunity to continue the series that he started, link to his channel in the description. I do plan on finishing this off by making the sniper and spy videos after this one, and I do stream over on Twitch, which is probably what I'll be doing to get footage for the next 2 videos, so if you want to stop by and say hi, there's a link to that in the description as well. If you enjoyed this video, however, consider hitting the like button and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. If you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so down in the comment section down below. My name is Brawneteer, and as always, I'll see all of you next time.